Check out carmarshal.com. The link is in the description. They help support us.
Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? I said the same thing. Is your lighter?
I am worried about that. Yes, I am.
Hey, how y'all doing, Clay County? Come with me. We're out here this morning in the Hickory Glen neighborhood. Me and the guys from the SWAT team, narcotics section. We just served a search warrant on a narcotics house. You know, I've warned and warned again, and that's why we call this Operation You Were Warned, because these individuals, all 15 of them that came out of this residence, were warned before that if they kept up, that we'd come back. And I continue to tell folks, and I'll say it time and time again, and folks don't seem to believe what I'm saying. As the sheriff of Clay County, I'm telling you, if you want to commit crimes in Clay County, you got options. You can stop what you're doing, you can leave Clay County, or you too will be on the receiving end of this. Follow me. One day, you'll be sleeping at night or early one morning, and you'll hear a bang and a lot of noise. And the end result and the outcome will be me standing in your living room, like I said, drinking my morning cup of coffee. Ah. 15 going to jail, 3 big gulps. Y'all take care, Clay County.
Sheriff makes ominous video bragging about using a small army to bust kids with weed. The Clay County Sheriff's Department just used a small army of troops and MRAPs to bust some kids with a little weed, and they are bragging about it on video. By Matt Agarist, January 6, 2018. Orange Park, Florida. The Clay County Sheriff's Department is receiving heavy backlash on social media this week after making a video of a SWAT raid in which hundreds of thousands of dollars of police resources were used to bust a handful of kids who had some marijuana. In the ominous video that looks more like a terrorist organization threatening its enemies than public servants solving crimes, Clay County Sheriff Darrell Daniels taunts his massive militarized police army and how it was just used to kidnap a bunch of young people for having marijuana. Masked men carrying AR-15s, multiple mine-resistant ambush-protected vehicles equipped with battering rams, and what looked like an entire platoon of tactical soldiers were all dispatched Friday morning to the home to serve a narcotics search warrant. In the video, Daniels claims his raid netted him 15 arrests. However, according to arrest records, only 5 young adults were charged. As the propaganda video begins, the person filming is at the other end of the street and filming the entire scene. There are more than a dozen kids sitting on the sidewalk in disbelief at the massive army that was just deployed to bust them for having marijuana. Advertisement. "Are you kidding me?" one of the detainees says as the cop walks by filming them. As the person filming walks down the street, it looks like a scene out of Fallujah, Iraq. However, these soldiers weren't going after dangerous foreign terrorists or even domestic child traffickers or murders or anything of the sort. They were going after kids selling a plant. Read more. Does the NYPD learn their arrest tactics from UFC fighters? Standing between 2 MRAPs and in front of a small army of masked men is the sheriff, who is waiting patiently for the cameraman to arrive so he can gloat to the world about using hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of taxpayer money to arrest some kids with pot. "I say it time and time again," Daniels said in the video. "And folks don't seem to believe what I'm saying. As the sheriff of Clay County, I'm telling you that if you want to commit crimes in the county, you've got options. You can stop what you're doing. You can leave Clay County. Or, you can be on the receiving end of this. The sheriff then walks into the home with baby pictures on the wall behind him to issue his ominous warning and flex his almighty drug war army. One day, says Daniels, you'll be sleeping at night, or early one morning and you'll hear a bang and a lot of noise. And, the end result and outcome will be me, standing in your living room like I said, drinking my morning cup of coffee. Daniels then takes a big swig out of his coffee mug and responds once more by gloating to the camera. 15 going to jail 3 big gulps. After the raid, the sheriff's department posted the video to their Facebook page where the internet proceeded to tear them apart. In the description under the video, the department claimed to have seized heroin/fentanyl, marijuana, drug paraphernalia and other evidence related to narcotics distribution. Although they claimed to have seized heroin/fentanyl, TFTP pulled the arrest records from the raid and not a single person was charged with possession of heroin or fentanyl. Read more. Infuriating video shows cop threaten to beat, torture, kill, and plant drugs on juvenile suspects. Devonte Joseph Robert Gibson, 21, Middleburg, charged with possession of less than 20 grams of cannabis. Joseph Abraham Hand, 21, Orange Park, charged with possession of more than 20 grams of marijuana and narcotic paraphernalia. Haley Autumn Thompson, 21, Orange Park, charged with possession of more than 20 grams of marijuana and narcotic paraphernalia. Aubryan William Lippis, 18, Middleburg, charged with possession of more than 20 grams of marijuana and narcotic paraphernalia. William Edward Endres, 30, Orange Park, charged with ownership, lease, or possession in or manufacturing a controlled substance. William Endres was the homeowner, which is why he is facing the serious charge listed above. After the video was posted to Facebook, the department received far more backlash than praise. This was hilarious. Thanks for the morning comedy. Great to see all you big bad SWAT members busting out windows of some little kids. Great show of force. Y'all must have been excited to find something to do. Brought every truck available. Good job managing resources. And if this was a big bust, wouldn't you be proud to show it off? Where is it? One Facebook user asked. I'd like to say good job, but militarization of police, and how they use their military toys and training against citizens, is becoming a major problem in this country, wrote another. The stupid belief that the war on drugs can ever be won, you're bleeding the American people on both sides. Those raids cost hundreds of thousands of dollars only to put them in prison where they get 3 hits and a cot on the taxpayer dime also, wrote another. Read more. Shock video, Ferguson police deliberately tear gas journalists. Below is an example of what happens when cops are given runaway budgets to arrest people for arbitrary substances deemed illegal by the state. They will build armies to rob and kidnap people, all to fill prisons and make a profit. All the while, real crimes like murders, rapes, and thefts are put on the back burner, or entirely ignored, allowing real criminals to walk free.
Does the government work for us, or do we work for the government? Tonight, what if the Constitution no longer applied? What if the whole purpose of the Constitution was to limit the government? What if Congress's enumerated powers in the Constitution no longer limited Congress, but were actually used as a justification to extend Congress's authority over every realm of human life? What if the president, meant to be an equal to Congress, has instead become a democratically elected, term-limited monarch? What if the president assumed that everything he did was legal just because he's the president? What if he could interrupt your regularly scheduled radio and TV programming for a special message from him? What if he could declare war on his own? What if he could read your emails and your texts without a search warrant? What if he could kill you without warning? What if Supreme Court justices no longer looked to the Constitution to determine the constitutionality of a law, but rather simply to what justices who preceded them thought about it? What if the rights and principles guaranteed in the Constitution have been so distorted in the past 200 years as to be unrecognizable by the founders? What if the 50 states were no longer sovereign entities, equals to each other, and parents of the federal government they voluntarily constituted? What if the states were mere provinces of a totally nationalized and fully centralized government? What if the Constitution was amended stealthily, not by constitutional amendments duly ratified by the states, but by the constant and persistent expansion of the federal government's role in our lives? What if the federal government decided if its own powers were proper and constitutional? What if the Constitution were no longer the supreme law of the land? What if you needed a license from the government to speak, to assemble, or to protest against the government? What if the government didn't like what you planned to say, and so it didn't give you the license? What if the right to keep and bear arms only applied to the government? What if posse comitatus, the federal law that prohibits our military from occupying our streets, were no longer in effect? What if the government considered the military an adequate dispenser of domestic law enforcement? What if cops looked and acted like troops and you couldn't distinguish the military from the police? What if you were not secure in your person, in your papers, and in your property? What if federal agents could write their own search warrants in defiance of the Constitution? What if the government could decide when you were and were not entitled to a jury trial? What if the government could take your property whenever it wanted? What if the government could continue prosecuting you until it got the verdict it wanted? What if the government could force you to testify against yourself simply by labeling you a domestic terrorist? What if the government could torture you until you said what the government wanted to hear? What if people running for president actually supported torture? What if the government tortured your children to get to you? What if government judges and government lawyers intimidated juries into convicting the innocent? What if the government could send you to your death and your innocence meant nothing so long as the government's procedures were followed? What if America's prison population, the largest in the world, was a cruel and unusual way for a country to be free? What if half the prison population never harmed anyone but themselves? What if the people had no rights except those the government chose to let them have? What if the states had no rights except to do as the federal government commanded? What if our elected officials didn't really live among us, but instead all had their hearts and homes in Washington, D.C.? What if the government could strip you of your rights because of where your mother was when you were born? What if the income tax was unconstitutional? What if the states were convinced to give up their representation in Congress? What if the government tried to ban you from using a substance in your body that is older than the government itself? What if voting didn't mean anything anymore because both political parties stand for big government? What if the government could write any law, regulate any behavior, and tax any event? The Constitution be damned. What if the government was the reason we don't have a Constitution anymore? What if you could love your country but hate what the government has done to it? What if sometimes to love your country you had to alter or abolish the government? What if Jefferson was right? What if that government is best which governs least? What if I'm right? What if the government is wrong? What if it is dangerous to be right when the government is wrong? What if it is better to perish fighting for freedom than to live as a slave? What if freedom's greatest hour of danger is now?
County. This is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheeple up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Sheriff County Cop Watch with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me, and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if some, if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave a, let's say, actually, yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But, do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where, at least I can do it. 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month, oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is, if I got, some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here, and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. 47,000 of you so far right now. $1 a day. $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head. Help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.